Mr. Conley? You say that the officers were entering 3 and 4 times before breakfast?
Well, I don't know if it was before breakfast. They come in and brought breakfast in, and they come in and pick up the trays, and they come back with razors. And I'm not too familiar with the prison scene. This was my first arrest.
Do you have an alcohol problem?
No.
Most people who have an alcohol problem don't admit they do.
Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Conley's alcohol problem is not on trial here.
I see there was questions asked about Mr. Honey calling off the names in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he did call off George's name, Mr. Gordon.
I don't think he got to calling off his name. I think was all ready to call. It would appear to me that he was ready to call his name, but he saw George there in his underwear, and he says, "George, get dressed," or "George Gordon, get dressed," or "Put on your jail suit." And then he's looking him right in the eye and says, "Did you tear up your jail suit?" So he didn't get a chance to call his name. This scene come down too quick.
While he said that, he was looking at George.
He was looking directly at George, right into eye to eye almost.
Then what you're saying is that you feel he knew that the suit was torn up prior to his making that statement?
To me, yes.
How could you assume that?
Because he was looking directly at us, and the bunkers in back of him. And George didn't have the prison suit on, so he couldn't have known.
And he laid hands on George Gordon, Mr. Gordon?
After he went over and picked up the prison suit and come back, then he grabbed him by the undershirt and roughed him up, pushed him up against the wall, and swore at him.
But you really and truly feel in your own mind that there was enough activity in that jail scene that night that the clothes possibly could have been exchanged? Or could you have been making a mistake?
There was people coming in and out of jail all night, and yes, they could have been exchanged. Anything could have happened. I didn't get up and check everybody to come in.
You seem pretty emphatic about the fact that Mr. Honey was aware of the fact that the clothes were torn up prior to him walking.
I'm just telling you what happened.
I see. I have no further questions this time.
Mr. Gordon, redirect.
No, I have no further use for this witness, Your Honor.
You may be excused.
Thank you, sir.
Call your next witness.
As my next witness, I'd like to call Mr. Dale Johnson.
Mr. Johnson.
Here. Will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
May be seated. Mr. Johnson, I guess your name is Dale Johnson?
Yeah, that's correct.
Would you spell your last name for us, Mr. Johnson, for the record?
It's Johnson.
And how are you employed?
Well, I'm not at this time.
And on the morning of April 9th, 1982, would you tell us where you were?
I was in the Ada County Jail.
How long had you been in there prior to April 9th, 1982?
About 3 weeks, I think.
And were you present when the defendant, George Gordon, was brought into that cell?
Yes, I was.
For the very first time, was that on April the 8th?
Yeah, I think so.
Was that at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
How many other prisoners were in the cell with you when Mr. Gordon was brought in?
Just one other, I think, so myself.
And when Mr. Gordon was brought in, that made a total of 3 at around 3 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Were any other prisoners put into the cell between, say, 3 in the afternoon and 10:30 at night when the lights went out?
Gosh. Yeah, there might have been another guy or two. I really don't remember that.
How many people were in the jail cell on the morning of April the 9th, 1983 at about, or 82, excuse me, at about breakfast time? Do you remember?
Let's see. No, I think there's probably 6 or 7.
Now, do you remember breakfast on that morning?
No,
breakfast is breakfast in there. So.
About what time is breakfast served? Do you remember?
Oh, let's see. I think about around 6 o'clock, I believe.
Okay. Do you remember Mr. Honey coming in to the cell on that morning?
Yeah, he usually did.
And would you describe in your own words the general scenario that occurred that morning or every morning?
Well, I don't know. Usually the lights come on about probably 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that. It's hard to tell. There's no clock in or anything. Usually around 6, 6:30, they shove the trays in through the food trays in through the slot in the door. Just everybody lines up and takes a tray. And let's see. I don't know. We're all through breakfast, and everybody just puts the trays back, in a pile, and the trustees come along and pick them up.
And is that about 6:30, 7 o'clock?
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Okay, and then does Mr. Honey come in and bring razors, 7:30 or so?
Yeah, not always. Sometimes it's another.
Your Honor, I object to the leading questions. He keeps putting questions and answers in the witness's mouth.
Sustained.
Well, let me rephrase the question. Does a jail guard bring razors in the morning?
Usually, yeah.
At what time?
Oh, just depends. Sometimes they don't bring them at all, but well, usually just right after breakfast.
On this particular morning, did they bring razors in?
Yeah.
And were the razors brought in prior to the calling of the roll for certain prisoners to be taken to traffic court?
Yeah, I think they were.
Let me take you back to April the 8th. When the defendant was brought into his jail cell on the 8th at 3 o'clock, was he, how was he dressed?
When? What?
How was the defendant, George Gordon, dressed on April the 8th when you first saw him come into the jail cell?
Well, I think he had the jail coveralls on.
And did he keep the coveralls on?
Yes. Well, as I remember, I think he took them off.
How long after he came in did he take them off? Do you remember that?
I think just as soon as they closed the cell door on him.
And what did he do with them?
As far as I know, he threw them underneath his bunk.
Did he say anything about the jail clothes at that time? Did anything stick in your mind about the event?
Well, I really don't remember that.
Well, did it seem unusual?
Objection. He's leading the question or leading the witness again. He keeps asking him questions that he's...
Sustained.
All right. I'll ask the question this way. Did it seem unusual to you that this defendant took his jail clothes off?
Yeah, I think I'd say so.
Was he walking around in the jail cell with his underwear and T-shirt on?
Yeah.
But he didn't have the orange coveralls on.
No, he didn't.
Did you have your coveralls on?
Objection. He doesn't need to ask these questions. He should be asking questions other than direct leading questions.
That's not a leading question, Your Honor. That question can be answered yes or no. He either had his jail clothes on or he didn't. And the foundation has already been laid, and the subject matter is the jail clothes.
Objection overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you answer that question? Did you have your jail clothes on?
Yes, I did.
And did the other man have his jail clothes on?
But besides Mr. Gordon?
Yes. At 3 o'clock on April the 8th, when Mr. Gordon came into the room, were you both wearing your jail clothes?
Yes, I was.
All right. And Mr. Gordon came into the room and took his jail clothes off and threw them under the bunk. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you say that was somewhat unusual. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, if I recall, it was.
Had you ever seen any other prisoners take their jail clothes off and throw them under the bunk?
No, I don't believe I have.
Okay. Now, as the other prisoners were brought in later on, did they take their clothes off and throw them under their bunk?
Oh, I don't know. One or two of them might have taken them off, but I don't think they threw them under the bunk. They usually just hang them up.
Did you see anybody tear up a jail suit while you were in that room?
None that I call.
Did you see anyone tear up a mattress while you were in that room?
No, I don't believe so. Some of them were actually already torn up or had tears in them and weren't very good mattresses.
You didn't see George Gordon tear up the mattress because it was pretty well torn up. Would you describe the events? Let me ask you this question this way. Let's lay all foundation here. Was it hot in that cell that day?
Yeah, it usually got pretty warm in there.
Was there some malfunction in the heating system, to your knowledge, that day?
Well, I don't know if there was an actual malfunction or not, but I know the air vent was putting out seemed like a lot of hot air.
And had you and had anybody been complaining about the heat?
Yeah, we usually tried to bang on the doors to get them to open up the little place where they put the tray in so we could get some ventilation through there.
And they wouldn't do that?
No.
And about how hot was it in that cell? Do you have any idea?
It was pretty warm in there, as I recall.
Was it 90 degrees?
I have no way of telling how hot it actually
Were
was.
you uncomfortable?
I was always uncomfortable.
Were you perspiring?
Yeah, I'm sure I was.
Did you want the heat turned off?
Yeah.
Did you want the doors opened?
You bet.
So that you could get ventilation?
Yeah, so that I could get out and get some ventilation too.
Yeah, I'm sure you wanted out, but it was oppressively hot in there. Is that correct?
Yeah, as I recall, it was pretty warm.
Did any of the other prisoners complain about it? Did you hear any yelling and commotion about the heat?
Yeah.
What was said?
No, like I say, a lot of guys, you could hear them banging on the doors, hollering to open up their cell or the tray doors in their cells too, because it was hot in their cells too. But usually about the only thing you could do though really was just, for those that were wearing the coveralls, was just to roll them down around their waist. So.
Did you see Defendant Gordon tear the mattress cover off of the mattress?
Well, see, gosh, I don't know. I think I was probably just sleeping in there at the time.
How did or who solved the heat problem in that cell?
Well, as far as I know, I think you did. I think you took the cover and pushed it down into that heat vent.
Was the cover already ripped off?
No, I don't think it was.
Well, let's describe that mattress. What kind of a mattress and what did it look like? And let's set that on the record first.
Oh, gosh, let's see.
Judge, that's a leading question. All jail mattresses are the same.
I think that's a legitimate question. Objection overruled.
Getting back to the mattress then, you didn't see... Now, let me ask you this question this way. Was that mattress already pretty well beat up?
Yeah, as far as I remember, I think it had quite a few tears in it.
And did you see Gordon simply take the foam rubber out of the cover to use the cover to cover up that heat vent?
I really don't actually remember you taking it out, because I think I was laying down on my bunk or was asleep or something at the time.
But do you remember seeing the mattress cover over in front of the heat vent to keep the heat from coming in?
Yeah, I do remember that.
And did you see Gordon use the foam rubber as a pillow?
Yeah.
Did you see the defendant tear the foam rubber up or destroy it in any way?
No, I don't think so.
And you didn't see the defendant tear up his jail suit?
No.
Did you talk to anybody else in there that did?
No, I don't believe it did.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examine Mr. Carnahan.
Mr. Johnson, you say you've been in jail for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I had none at that time.
Is this a first-time offense?
Objection, Your Honor. That's not a relevant question. No foundation was laid.
Sustained.
On April 8th, you say that there were men coming in and out of there before breakfast in quite frequent numbers. Is this true?
Not on April 8th, I don't believe it. I don't know what you're referring to.
On April 9th, excuse me. That was the morning that we're discussing now.
You're talking about breakfast?
Yes. 6 or 7 are a total.
Oh, there was that many prisoners in there, I would say.
Okay. Back to the incident where you say you never saw George put the mattress cover over the heat duct that was coming into the room. Did you see the mattress cover over the heat duct?
Yeah, I saw it over it.
You saw that. I see. You feel there was a malfunction of the heat unit in the jail cell itself?
Now, I don't know if it was a malfunction or not. I really don't know what the mechanical conditions were.
When you saw Gordon, did you actually, you testified that you saw the vent plugged?
Yes.
Okay. Then earlier you testified that you were asleep on your bed when Gordon evidently took the mattress apart. So your testimony is in conflict.
No. I didn't testify that I don't believe anyway, that I saw Mr. Gordon actually plug the vent himself, but I had seen it plugged. When I got up off the bed, I saw that it was there.
Did you see any of the foam taken out of the mattress?
It was out of the mattress, yeah. I don't recall Mr. Gordon taking it out, though.
In order to take the foam out of the mattress, how big of a tear would have to be in the mattress cover?
I don't know. I suppose it's pretty good size. I've never taken one apart. I don't know.
But you did see the cover plugged over the heat vent.
That's correct.
And yet you didn't see the actual transaction of the foam being removed from the cover and put over the heat vent.
No.
You saw it after the fact.
Yeah, that's correct.
You didn't see Gordon use the foam as a pillow.
Yeah, he did have it as a pillow.
You had testified earlier that you didn't see that. You were laying on your bed.
No, he was later on, though, in the day. I saw him, a little bit after, right after that I got up.
Well, I would like the jury to understand that I think the witness doesn't know sometimes what he saw and what he didn't see.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I think that should be stricken from the record. It's a self-serving statement designed to prejudice the jury, and I think not only should it be stricken from the record, I think that the jury should be cautioned to disregard it.
The jury will disregard the remarks, and they'll be stricken from the record. And Mr. Carnahan, please be careful about your statements. You're supposed to be asking questions.
You did see George wearing clothes when he came in?
Yeah, he was in his jail suit.
And you never saw him, other than throw the clothes under the bunk, touch those clothes in any other way?
I don't think I ever did.
You don't think? Did you or didn't you?
I never saw him that I can recall.
Thank you. I have no further questions this time.
Redirect, Mr. Gordon.
I don't believe I do, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're excused. I'll call your next witness.
I think the next witness I'd like to call would be Mr. Bruce Honey.
Mr. Bruce Honey, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Where are we starting?
Mr. Honey, would you spell your name for the record and tell us your name, please?
My name is Bruce Honey, Honey.
And Mr. Honey, you're a guard at the Ada County Jail, is that correct?
That's correct.
How long have you been out there at the Ada County Jail?
I've been at the jail approximately 4 years.
I'm going to call your attention back to April of 1982. Did you have, or could you tell us what your assignment was at that time?
I was a jailer at that time.
What shift do you work in the jail, Mr. Honey?
6 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And in the course of your duties, did you have occasion to meet the defendant in this matter, concerning this jail suit?
Yes, I did.
Would you recognize Mr. Gordon if you were to see him again?
Yes, I would.
The morning of April the 9th, would you tell us what your schedule was between the time you got to the jail and, say, 8:30? Would you just tell us in your own words what you did?
Basically, it was to collect the breakfast trays and pass out razors, and then I called the roll for the arraignments.
What time did you pass out razors that morning? Do you remember?
Generally, it'd be somewhere right in the area of 7:30.
What time did you first go into the jail cell?
I believe it would be right around 6 o'clock, somewhere in that area. 6:15.
Did you notice anything at that time that was out of the ordinary or unusual?
No, I don't believe so.
And then when did you come back to the jail cell?
When I collected the trays, the breakfast trays.
Did you notice anything unusual at that time?
I don't recall whether it was the first time or the second time that I came to that cell, but I did notice that Mr. Gordon was sleeping on a pad of foam rubber, using it as a pillow.
And then what did you do about that? Or did you do anything?
At that time, I ordered Mr. Gordon to remove the foam rubber from his bunk because we do not allow pillows in the jail cells.
Did you ask Mr. Gordon if he had destroyed the mattress?
I believe something was mentioned about him tearing the cover off of the foam rubber.
Did he answer you? Did he tell you what happened to it, or?
I believe he said something about taking the foam rubber out of the cover at that time.
Did he tell you what he used it for?
nothing about covering up a vent or...
Was it extremely hot in there that morning? Do you remember?
I don't recall.
Was there some mechanical malfunction in the heating system? Do you remember?
I don't get into that sort of thing, so I wouldn't know.
Well, had you heard of any complaints?
I had heard some complaints that morning, yes. Prisoners complaining isn't anything unusual, though.
Did you see Mr. Gordon destroy the mattress?
No.
Did you see Mr. Gordon destroy any jail clothes?
No, I did not.
Was that a used mattress that was in question?
Well, this had been used for a period of time prior to that, yes.
Was it, did it have some tears and stitching missing on the seams, do you know?
As to that particular mattress, I don't know for sure.
Well, when you observed this, did you take any action?
No, I did not.
What did you observe Mr. Gordon doing with the phone?
He was using it as a pillow.
Did you take any action?
Well, other than to make him put the foam rubber back on the bunk that it belonged on.
Did you have occasion to meet Mr. Gordon later that morning?
When I came in to call roll and take the prisoners in for arraignment.
About what time was that?
I believe right around 9:15 or 8:15, excuse me.
Well, what were you going to do? What was the purpose for making this roll call?
To call the prisoners to take them into court for arraignment.
And what did you observe about Mr. Gordon at that time, if anything?
Mr. Gordon was standing in his underwear and t-shirt, and I believe he had his socks on.
Did he say anything to you in response?
In response to what?
Did you tell him to get his coveralls on?
Yes, I did.
Did he say anything?
I don't believe he said anything. I think he just stood there.
Then what did you do?
I ordered him again to get his clothes on, get his suit on.
And what did he do, if anything?
He just stood there and looked at me.
Now, at this time, about how many other inmates were in that cell?
7 or 8 total.
And what did you do next?
I looked around the cell to find the jail suit that Mr. Gordon had been issued.
And did you find it?
I found pieces of it under Mr. Gordon's bunk.
And then what did you do?
I asked Mr. Gordon if he had torn up his jail suit.
Were you calm about the questioning of it? Did you ask him the question, Mr. Gordon, did you tear up your jail suit? Is that what you said?
Yes.
And then what did you do, if anything?
I believe I said something to Mr. Gordon about the carrying up his jail suit was a crime.
What kind of crime was it?
Objection. That's the leading question.
Objection overruled.
He can answer that question, yes or no. He either knows or he doesn't. What kind of a crime was it, do you know?
I believe it's a felony. I know that now.
When did you find out that it was a felony? Did you know it at that time when you said, Mr. Gordon, this is a felony, or did you learn about it later from Mr. Carnahan?
I believe I might have said that it was a felony at that time, but I was not sure.
Well, then what did you do with Mr. Gordon?
I believe at that time we went directly to the arraignments.
And did Mr. Gordon get dressed in another jail suit?
No, he did not.
How did he go to arraignment?
In his shorts and T-shirt and socks.
Have you ever taken a prisoner to an arraignment in his underwear before?
No, I have not.
Why did you do that in this case?
Because Mr. Gordon refused to wear the jail uniform.
Did you bring him his clothes?
No, I did not. That's not policy.
Is it policy to take a man to traffic court in his underwear?
Those were my orders.
Who gave you those orders?
My lieutenant.
What's his name?
Leonard.